Hello, and welcome to the Daily Jump. I'm really delighted that my special guest today is Octok Lafortune. He's physically located in Sudbury, Ontario, out in the country. And Octok is someone that I've known for many years now, and he specializes in an area that's called cosmometry. And I recently took an amazing course that he facilitated that was studying quantum physics and the connection between that and what I would call a field of inner wisdom and inner knowing and mysticism. So I have asked him to be on the Daily Jump today because the last 3 days, we've been investigating the opportunities that this time is offering us. We've talked to people in 3 very different areas of the world. And I'd like to go a little bit deeper today so I've talked with my guest, Octok, about the opportunities that they see going on. And what I want to do today is to talk about kind of the physics behind the choices that we make and what reality we belong to. Because what I've been observing is that right now there's a choice that people can make as to what they tune into and what they put into action in their daily lives as to what reality they wish to reinforce. So I would just love to hear a little bit more about your thoughts on that, and maybe to talk at the layman's level, because I know you're capable of going at many different levels, of kind of the physics behind that. How are you seeing what's going on in that particular area that I'm introducing?
Okay. It's both simultaneously a simple and complicated subject, and we'll avoid the deep complexities. But to put it quite directly, your choice of observation behaves like a physics wave, and that gets fed back into your own experience. So in physics, you have energy field dynamics. Magnetism follows this, gravity follows this, where the flows of these, are like black holes or just particles, planets. The energy dynamics of these objects behave in a toroidal, like a torus faction, where like a torus method, let's say. And like anything that these things put out, it gets fed back to them in a feedback loop. And as human beings, we're no different in this expression. So without, going into math and into the details, you can say quickly that whatever you get back, whatever you put out, or in the layman's term, what goes around comes around. So yeah, like the moods you have, the methods of thinking, the ways of being, these behaviors and emanations of your character are and will and feed back to you the reality you experience. And now that sounds sort of magical, and it kind of is, but it's also kind of not at the same time. And again, avoiding all the deep details, we can talk about 3 principles real quick. So Heisenberg's uncertainty principle is a physics principle that states mainly that reality as we know it is in a form of fluctuation constantly. Now you can say, well, duh, of course it is, but it gets more specific. Like when we were studying electrons and movement of particles, you can know either the position of a particle, but not what it's doing or where it's going, or you can know how its motion is, but not know where its position is in quantum mechanics. To put it in another way, think of like a movie. Well, you can like pause the movie and have one specific frame, and you can say, I know everything there is to know about this frame. It looks this way. It's got this color, etc. But just you can't say what the movie is about, or you can't say the direction the movie is taking just by selecting a single frame out and say that is the movie. It's not. But as you play the movie, what's like 30 frames a second, are flying by. Each frame becomes almost unimportant. What's more important that time is the direction in which the movie is flowing. Reality behaves very much in the same way, where there is a flux, there is a flow to it, but anytime you attempt to observe a particular point, you get this frozen frame that doesn't tell you anything else about what's actually happening. So that's Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. But there's also like quantum superposition, which is just the quantum mechanics has demonstrated that all possibilities of matter exist simultaneously, and they only set into a particular configuration upon, well, probabilities, but also by the act of the observer or the attempt to measure it. Now, this is probably really important because since we're all made of the same stuff, particles and atoms and all of that, and this matter undergoes all the same quantum mechanical fluctuations and behaviors that the rest of it does, your existence and your form and your experience are just the setting of a quantum position of your choosing based on your observation. It's actually a lot more significant. I know it's just saying like that sounds fairly simple, but it's actually really significant. You see, because you exist quantumly in every single reality that you can think of and ones that you can't think of. So if you've ever decided like, I'm going to go that left or I'm going to go right, well, you actually went both left and right. And the one that you remember, say you went left, you only remember that because that's the one you chose to observe, you see? But you also went right, and another exact copy of you went on and had its own memory and its own reality based on you going right that day, let's say. Right, so I can go on, but I don't want to like take up tons of time, and I don't want this to get all weird. But just to like review real quick, yeah, like if you're familiar with some modern physics like Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, a bit of quantum mechanics, quantum superposition, and the effect of attempted measurement, observation with particular states in quantum, then you can very quickly like extract that and it'll bring your whole reality into question. Absolutely. Am I really dark all of a sudden? There we go. Sorry.
You did.
That's better.
Yeah.
Because suddenly, these principles, these proven scientific principles, you're like, well, what is real then? If all of this seems to be just some sort of like chance or choice based on my interpretation of it, then what the hell is going on, right? And well, that brings us to unified field physics, but we won't go there right now.
So taking that science, let's circle back to the topic of how we choose our reality, and maybe take that science and ground it maybe a bit more accessibly for how it might help people day to day right now understand kind of the choice that's in front of them. The choice of how they create their reality. Because basically what I'm seeing is, it's a time of great uncertainty. I think we can agree on that. Not that it's any more uncertain than our lives have been in the past, but it's highlighted right now. Uncertainty is highlighted for people right now. They're unplugged from normal routines, from normal stimulus, and the natural response, I think, is, for many, uncertainty. But there's a choice to be made here whether they want to plug into uncertainty or fear, or, and not to make it, because I don't want to make it dualistic, because obviously it's not an either or situation. But you can choose what you choose, what reality you act on, and therefore create.
It can be an either or if that's where they want to be.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's okay. I suppose the most immediate thing I would say is, it sounds totally cliche, it sounds like something your grandparents would say, but what goes around comes around, and that applies to, like, that's not just interacting with people, that's not just interacting with the environment, but it's like interacting with yourself as well, like the way you think, the way you feel, your attitude about the current situation. If you're responding to, the media, if you're responding to, I don't know, all the hype that's out there, the modern day politics, or like, it's so, or just with the internet in general, like, it's so easy to hone in on hysteria or like the negative, and if that's what you want to focus on, believe me, there's like plenty of it to go around in the internet, and that's sort of an example of what goes around comes around. You think about,
read about,
like, worried about, or you're afraid of this, and then next thing you know, oh, poof, there on YouTube there's a video about the next 30 deaths that just occurred about coronavirus or whatever. It's like, well, it's like, did you manifest that? I'm not saying you're responsible for the deaths, but please don't misunderstand me, but I'm saying your concern or worry about the dangers of reality, and suddenly it just got proven to you. Do you know, that sort of goes around comes around is what you manifest by holding within you certain frames of thinking, ways of feeling, ways of behaving. But before I'm just taken as someone who's like, well, promoting, well, just go live under a rock and don't think and worry about anything, you'll be just fine. Before I'm, any reviewers think I'm claiming that's not what I'm claiming. Like, there is opportunities in everything, even the not so fun stuff, even the difficult things. So if it comes to you, these recent events that are a little uncertain, let's say, then take the opportunity to maybe build definition for yourself, and use the physics principles if you want. Like your action and thoughts and patterns will dictate the reality that you experience.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I lost my train of thought. I was about to go. It's okay. I guess it wasn't that important. Well, I guess we'll leave that question there then. The hype is just hype, and don't let it define you, I suppose, right? Just be aware that reality does function on a specific set of rules that you could use to your benefit, or at least expand the way you think and feel and behave so that you don't make things unnecessarily worse for yourself.
Yeah, and I think that's an important point, that your choice and actions are going to create a certain trajectory for yourself, like the movie. You know, that your actions and what you build upon through your actions, through your creativity, and in finding opportunities at this point will set you, you're going to have a choice of your trajectory that comes out of it.
Yeah, quantumly, physically, like hard science, like
it's a law.
it's demonstrated.
Yeah.
You know, you're built upon all the stuff that quantum mechanics is working upon, you know, matter, like you're made of this stuff. So you have built into you the same degree of fluctuation, the same degree of uncertainty, the same degree of feedback as all these entities, you know, these physical, let's just say matter. You know, you're built of this, and you have the same capabilities as they do. You know, we really shrink ourselves, human beings, because we look at these particles and we say they have all these amazing quantum mechanical behaviors that seem honestly like magic, and then suddenly as we scale things up to say human size or even a lot smaller than that, we're like, they're gone. No, they're definitely not gone. They're still there. They're just manifesting, if you want, in a way that is say far more complex, right? You're a lot more complex than just a single particle. So your quantum superposition, your manifestation, your toroidal energy feedback, and all that will be more complex in nature. But what you put out is what you get back. That's really super important, and I would say choosing the reality to be in.
Yeah, I think that's an important message for people right now, and not as a fear tactic at all. It's a simple choice that everyone has an availability to make, to activate and be aware of their own quantum mechanics and the laws that they are working under. So
that's right.
That's the window that I wanted to open up today, as a way of broadening people's understanding of the theme that we've been exploring this week, which is stay positive no matter what. We're going to kind of look at it from a few more angles over the coming days, but I wanted to interject some quantum mechanics, some quantum physics rather, into it. So Octok, I just want to thank you for your time today. Maybe we'll get you back on the Daily Jump in the days to come to give some more segments. But I really appreciate you making the time, and I hope you and your family stay well through the weeks to come. So thanks for joining us on the Daily Jump.
All right. Thanks to the grace of Rajemt here. So what I wanted to say was, if you're the sort of person that has the awareness where you can look into your own mind or emotions or feelings, behaviors, and you can reflect, you know, on yourself and say, oh man, I'm being really negative, or I'm being this, and our goal here is to be positive no matter what. But maybe you're not the sort of person who can do that with ease. Maybe you're not really quite sure what you're thinking or you're feeling. You don't have to. The good news is that since what goes around comes around, is your reality will feed that back to you. So maybe you're not the most aware or internally introspective person. That's fine. Just pay attention to the experiences in your life.
Yeah.
I mean, watch what's happening to you. And if you're experiencing a life or reality that's really uncomfortable or really uneasy for you, maybe start checking. It's like, oh, how did I quantumly create this? Like, what am I putting out that's generating this reality that I'm experiencing right now? Because I don't like it. So, hopefully that will motivate you to pay attention.
Well, and that's really helpful, Octok, because, one of the things, areas of exploration I wanted to take next was that what I'm meaning by stay positive no matter what isn't necessarily the new age, everything's okay. It's about, okay, my life is really challenging me right now or uncomfortable. And the piece of positivity that's really needed in that circumstance, or that I would recommend or suggest, is just to stop and say, okay, what is my life? What's that feedback loop trying to show me? And just to, instead of saying, oh, things are bad, things are bad, things are bad, and to reinforce, is just to be able to pause for a second and say, oh, there's something I'm trying to teach myself here. That's the positivity right in that second.
Right. Exactly. Even in a dark situation,
Yeah.
you're making use, you're seeing the opportunity in the toughness. You're like, what can I do about this?
Yeah. It's not try and coat that toughness over, sugarcoat it with a fake positivity.
It's all going to be fine.
Yeah. It's not that at all. It's about letting yourself sink into that place of discomfort, and knowing that the discomfort's there to teach you something, that the discomfort actually wants you naturally to be free of that. So it's not to sugarcoat it. It's not to that you have to jump into being positive and happy and everything's great. Since the positivity is actually in finding the teaching in the discomfort.
Or at least notice what is making you uncomfortable.
Yes.
And how you made that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is teaching.
Right. And just for maybe some of your viewers who aren't scientifically inclined, like, I encourage you all to go further in your field, field physics, your quantum mechanics, because modern sciences really are quite literally bumping up and rubbing up against, the ancient spiritual teachings that have been around for a long time. And it's sort of a challenging but exciting time because of that, the religion and spirituality and hard science and mechanics are all bumping up against each other, because once upon a time, like, forget it, like, the church did not talk to, the institutions. Like, they didn't talk to, the scientists. Like, they were very much on opposite ends of the spectrum. But with quantum mechanics, it's not anymore, and it's right there. So follow up. It's very exciting.
Well, and I would have to say that, Octok, you are an expert in that brushing together those two worlds and bringing awareness to the layman like myself of how those worlds not just interact or intersect, but are the same. So I want to thank you for your endeavors in that direction and about the exciting work that you're doing in that area right now. So thank you. I appreciate that about you.
All right.
All right, sweetheart. Thank you for having that little extra bonus point for us here at the Daily Jump.